our last Kulinski video. I can't handle this much Hassan slop, but we'll try.
All right, y'all. I have to say, I am completely and utterly done with Hassan derangement syndrome. Let me just say, as clear as I possibly can, if you are a political commentator and you have a take on Hassan Piker, do me a favor and just shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it.
King.
We shouldn't even be having this conversation. This hopefully will be the last time I have to fucking address this. But I am so sick. We're living in a world where Donald Trump is waging an illegal and offensive war against Iran. The outline of World War III is there for shit sure.
Hi, what's up? Mark the Muslim, you're on.
Hey, how you doing? Sorry, I was muted.
Hi, what's up, buddy?
I wanted to challenge you on materialism.
No, fuck no. Fuck that. Okay, Jesus, huge mistake. Fuck that.
I don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it. We shouldn't even be having this conversation. This hopefully will be the last time I have to fucking address this. But I am so sick. We're living in a world where Donald Trump is waging an illegal and offensive war against Iran. The outline of World War III is there for shit sure.
Like, yeah, Kyle, we knew this. That's why some of us were enthusiastically campaigning for and advocating for people to vote for Kamala Harris. Why are you complaining?
Anybody with a functioning brain can see it. China, Russia, Iran versus us and Israel.
Is there any way to get rid of these stupid bad passives, or do you just have to get really lucky when they're at the house? Ugh.
With a hesitant Europe to fucking take a side. Even the Gulf Arab states now are hesitant to sort of take a side. You see the outlines there. The Strait of Hormuz is shut down. Gas is absolutely skyrocketing. Our AI bubble is about to burst seemingly any minute. We have a looming fucking global depression that's about to hit. We have war crime after war crime after war crime being committed on a daily basis. We have fears of a Moab or nukes about to be used in Iran. They're attacking hospitals. They're attacking schools. Israel is stealing South Lebanon right now as we speak. They displaced 1.1 million people.
Did we watch all of this yesterday? Or we just watched a Twitter clip. I think we just watched a clip of the start of this, right?
Bulldozing their homes. They're seizing their land. All this shit is going on. And we're supposed to have a fucking conversation about Hassan Piker. Did you guys see that in 2019, he said this thing, which was really politically incorrect and rude? I don't give a fuck if he was having sex with your grandma in 2019 or 2012. I don't give a fuck. Why are we having this conversation? Why are we talking about him? And so we really had Hassan derangement syndrome hit a peak recently because on The Bulwark, the network The Bulwark, we had Tim Miller, who, to his credit, he came out and I think he had the proper take. He was basically saying, like, why the fuck are we talking about Hassan? There's an illegal war of aggression going on, and Donald Trump's a psychopath. He's demented. He's going to basically drag us all to hell. Like, he's destroyed the country completely. He's working on destroying the world. Let's grow up here and move the fuck on. Let's not talk about Hassan. So Tim Miller comes out and says that. Well, you have a right-wing Democrat, a diet MAGA Democrat, as I call them, Sarah Longwell. She was one of the founders of The Bulwark, I believe. And she was mad at Tim Miller, and she goes, well, we got to have this conversation on air because I don't agree with you. What followed was just one of the most frustrating conversations I think I've ever seen. So let me show you a little snippet here. Here's what she said.
It's like, what? We're picking this fight with him now? I'm just like, I could think of 1,000 other things I would rather Democrats pick fights about now. Like, why him right now?
Because he's making their life harder. It is people like Hassan are hold on. People like Hassan are making Democrats who want to take a stand against this war, right? And who want to probably take a stand against the way that Trump is just sort of like, you know, doing whatever Bibi tells him. They're trying to figure out how to do it in a way where they don't imperil the safety of Jewish people in this country. They're trying to do it in a way that is, they don't want to be anti-Semitic. And I'll tell you why Hassan is so dangerous is that what it does is it's exactly what Trump does. It's exactly what Nick Fuentes does and Tucker does. It takes maybe legitimate rage about something, and then it gives them an enemy to put it on. It gives them an outgroup to blame for it. And I think you have to be so careful with that so that you're not doing that, which starts with condemning the people who hold the same position as you for reasons that are bad, for reasons that are hostile to Jews.
Here's where I disagree. Totally disagree. It starts with condemning the fucking war and condemning Israel and condemning Bibi and condemning Trump and being passionate and clear about it. Because then what happens? Then, if you have the credibility then with the voters who were anti-war voters, who are unhappy about the way that they see the bipartisan establishment. They thought Trump was going to be their savior from this, that there was this some blob in DC, and no matter which party is in charge, we always get into stupid wars. They thought Trump was their way out of this. And now they're like, Trump's doing the same shit that all the other ones did that we said we didn't want it. He's doing it worse. And so now if the Democrats go to those people and go on those shows, they should be on those shows. Democrats should be begging Joe Rogan or Theo, whoever, to have them on right now. They should be on Manosphere shows being like, I told you, this was stupid. I didn't want to do this. This war is dumb. Our relationship with Israel is too tight. We should be reevaluating it. We should not be getting dog walked into this war. By the way, MBS also sucks, right? Like, you can do that in a way that's not anti-Semitic because it's what has happened.
He's right that the same fucking people who basically were like, we messed up by not treating Joe Rogan like a special little baby bird and going on his show and explaining things to him like he's 3 years old. They're now in retrospect, they go, we should have been open to the podcasters and the brosphere. Why wouldn't we be open to them? We're so dumb. That's how you gain the voters. You go where they are. He's got a lot of people listening. We should have went over there. Those same people are now shunning the left-wing Joe Rogan. They're going, I'm going to cancel him. I don't like him. He needs to shut up and never say anything I don't like.
Left-wing Joe Rogan. Nice. True.
And let me quote the worst things he ever said, but out of context, and make him sound like an absolute fucking maniac. Even though anybody who...
His quotes make him sound like a fucking maniac? Really?
He ever said, but out of context, and make him sound like an absolute fucking maniac. Even though anybody who watches his show for one fucking day or two can immediately tell you that the way they try to portray him is psychotically inaccurate. To the point where they're lying.
Any examples of that, by the way? Any actual examples of that? Do you see how it's the same Trump strategy? Like, it's all of these people function the exact same way?
Are lying the way that they portray this man. So, Sean says, my main takeaway from this was the revelation that Sarah has a book coming out on how to defeat MAGA when Kamala lost following her exact game plan down to campaigning with Liz Cheney. Tim Miller is the only never-Trumper who has actually truly thought about what happened in 2024.
Like, what is that, 2 or 3 personal attacks, basically, on Sarah? Like, she was an ex-Republican consultant for whatever people, and then with Liz Cheney, the warmonger. Like, it's like there's no defense of Hassan. There's no engagement with anything Sarah says critically. It's just like all of these like pivots, personal attacks, never engage on substance because these people don't have any substance. The bleach has like rotted through his skull and there's just like nothing in there. There's literally nothing going on in there.
That's fucking incredible. So Sarah Longwell supported the idea of campaigning with Liz Cheney. Now she has the nerve to police the boundaries and the borders of the Democratic coalition. How about you go to shut the fuck upsville? How about that? How about you were dead wrong about everything? Kamala came out the gates hot as a motherfucker when her and Tim Walz were doing the rallies and Tim Walz was making jokes about J.D. Vance, having sex with couches, and they were talking about how we're going to ban price gouging for groceries, and they came out hot and aggressive, and they went left. And at that moment, polls came out that had her up 6 points on Donald Trump. Then as soon as the Biden people infiltrated and the never-Trumpers infiltrated, and what happened? Oh, they softened the rhetoric. She stopped talking about the banning of price gouging on groceries. She started talking about having the most...
Like, I'm sorry, but no matter how you look at it, the reason why there was so much energy behind her initially was just because the Biden debate was a disaster and it seemed like things were hopeless, and then bringing in a new person, there was just a lot of energy around that. Like, it was just a lot of energy, a lot of excitement just because of everything that was going on. The idea that, oh my God, they were so popular because they were so far to the left, but then when they started coming back to the center, that's why they lost their momentum. It's so stupid. It's such an unserious, so stupid.
Lethal military in the world. She had on...
nobody was listening to Kamala say that and think, oh my God, she really said that? That we should have a lethal military? I want the U.S. military to be weak and impotent. Like, it's so stupid.
She started talking about having the most lethal military in the world. She had on, she was out there with Liz Cheney all the time, which, by the way, netted her fucking 0 voters, probably lost more voters. Like, for fuck's sake, hello, this is the Democratic Party. Most of us lived through the fucking Bush years and we saw the horrors and we hated the fucking neocon warmongers, and your brilliant idea was to bring a
Remember, this is a guy who said openly that he didn't vote for Biden in 2020 and then made a strong endorsement for Jill Stein in 2024, by the way. But, neocon
warmonger and say, I'm with these people who you fucking hate. And so the fact that she has the nerve to go out there and she's policing it, Bitch, you got here yesterday. Like, you got to the coalition yesterday. Are you kidding me? Okay. We also have this. It's Politics says, and people wonder why some never-Trump Republicans are not the best allies. Listen to Sarah Longwell. She came yesterday to the Democratic Party, and maybe she doesn't agree with the majority of positions of the base, like Medicare for all, taxing the rich, and decoupling from Israel, but she gets to pick and choose what people are in the tent. Get the fuck out of here. So here's another clip that went viral. Here we go.
Should he be in the tent or out of the tent is a question of like, okay, who is this guy? What does he believe? What does he talk about on what is a relatively popular streaming site? And I'll just give you a flavor of some of the
Here come the smears. Here come the out of context quotes. Let's get it.
Things that pop up.
I'm sure he's going to give additional context to every quote that comes up too. Please. Okay.
From Hassan's critics that I have seen and that I think are quite terrible. So America deserved 9/11, dude.
It's the CIA concept of fucking blowback is what he's talking about. No, he's not pro Al-Qaeda, pro Osama bin Laden.
Okay, so you're just justifying the quote then. It's not out of context, no? By the way, it's a semi-defensible quote. I've said as much. Of all the edgy Hassan takes, you can defend it. But that's not out of context then. That's what he thinks, right? Is that America engaged in actions that warranted or that basically led to 9/11, right?
Pro-terrorist attack against civilians in the United States. And the only reason why you're implying that's the case is because you're an Islamophobic hag bitch.
Oh, she's Islamophobic. Oh, that's why we hate Hassan, because she's Islamophobic. Oh.
His name is Hassan, so you think you can get away with a quick one by pretending.
Oh, that's why. Oh, because his name is Hassan.
He's pro-terrorism. No, in fact, on his show,
he's literally pro-terrorism. He interviews terrorists and sucks them off. He literally was talking about how based Hezbollah and Nasrallah were, and how he was talking about how Hamas are freedom fighters and blah blah blah. Like, gee, we've seen the streams, dog. Holy shit!
Talks out against terrorism daily. Okay, this is why he covers the genocide in Gaza, where they're murking civilians on a daily basis, because he's anti-terrorism. He doesn't want any harm to be done to any fucking civilians. And the fact that you didn't realize he's referring to the CIA concept of blowback says everything about you and fucking nothing about him. Jesus Christ.
On China, he says, we hyper-focus on the social repression.
Like, this is like, he's playing like Trump's strongest defender, right, for Hassan. This is like a Jack Posobiec or a Sean Hannity tier defense of Trump, except it's Kyle Kulinski for Hassan.
And fucking nothing about him. Jesus Christ.
On China, he says, we hyper-focus on the social repression or the civil liberties, or not even civil liberties necessarily, but free speech and things like that. But in terms of good governance, there's a lot we can learn from the way they perform out there. At least they...
that's just literally factually correct. That's like not even arguable. That's not even...
Or not even civil liberties necessarily, but free speech and things like that. But in terms of good governance, there's a lot we can learn from the way they perform out there. At least they...
that's just literally factually correct. That's like not even arguable.
Okay, so that's the second... So you don't disagree with that one. Okay. You don't disagree with that one then, okay.
Well, that's not even debatable. They have all these fucking beautiful high-speed trains where they built out all of the infrastructure since like 2008 until today. It's a fucking modern marvel of engineering. It's phenomenal. That's the shit he's talking about. Hey, look at the high-speed trains. Look at the state-of-the-art airports. Look at how their mid-level cities now mog the shit out of our fucking top-level cities. That's what he's talking about.
Well, in what ways? I mean...
You're trying to...
Like, in some ways, yeah, sure. But there are European places that do this as well. But is that really the guy who got the little red book from his state-sponsored CCP tour guide? That's the only thing he's talking about with regards to China?
Make some banal factual observation like controversial and unacceptable. This is the sort of cancel culture bullshit that all you idiots said you would stop doing after the 2024 election, and yet here we are.
And he has a lot of very pro-China takes.
Oh, he's able to call a spade a spade? Don't you know we're supposed to shut our brains off and say everything ever about China is evil and wrong and bad?
There's one that he says was a little bit taken out of context, but he says doesn't matter.
Okay, so that's another one. So far, nothing has been taken out of context. Kyle Kulinski just agrees with everything that's been said. Okay.
Fucking
evil and wrong and bad?
There's one that he says was a little bit taken out of context, but he says doesn't matter if the fucking rapes happened on October 7th.
When you admit before you do the smear that, well, this one's out of context. How did you let those words come out of your mouth?
But do you see why it's never worth it with these types of malicious actors? You can't make a concession that's good enough to say anything, right? He doesn't actually care that she would qualify that, right? There's no point in hedging or qualifying. It literally doesn't matter because they'll still get you on it, right?
Oh my days. How did you let that escape your mouth? Well, I know this one's like a smear and is totally out of context, but I'm going to try it anyway. Oh my God. His point was that wouldn't justify a genocide. Even if there were rapes on October 7th, that doesn't then justify carpet bombing babies. That doesn't justify murdering untold numbers of civilians, shooting people who wave white flags, starving people to death, bombing World Central Kitchen workers and hospitals and schools. Okay? That is the most banal observation I think I've ever heard. Like, who would say, oh, if a bad thing happens here, you're allowed to genocide them back? No, that's not a thing. That was his point. I don't know why, like, again, people, they clip chimp and clip farm and think like...
Is that not what she is about to go on to say? Didn't she say that it's a little bit out of context? And does she go on to provide that context? Is that...
Like, oh, this is going to get him. It's not going to fucking get him. And again, all you have to do, and I'm not even kidding about this, watch one day of Hassan's stream. 2 at most.
There's a guy who watched Hassan's stream for 7 days. We watched that video.
And you'll walk away going, oh, they've been lying about literally everything about this man the entire time.
True.
Like, they're just lying. They're just lying. I know what he believes. I've seen enough of him talk. I don't need you to take these out of fucking context clips and play the gotcha game, and you think that that's going to change my opinion on what I've seen with my own 2 fucking eyes.
That doesn't change the dynamic for me even this much. So that's the other part of this problem that many people can't contend with. Like, the Palestinian resistance is not perfect. They're not, like, so good. They have magical bullets. I don't know what that means. He says Hamas is 1,000 times better than Israel.
Literally, he's talking about math. How many people died on October 7th? Like, what, 2,000? And what's the minimum number they talk about now?
Like, so it's not out of context. Also, nobody in the entire history of the planet thinks of conflict like this. This is, by the way, well, I'm going to say, it's not really a neo-Nazi argument. Like, everybody who wants to be a disingenuous will use this argument. But this is an argument that people will say, oh, well, actually, the true victims of the war were how many Germans were killed, you know, when the Allies invaded, and look how many people died in the Dresden bombings and all this shit. Like, these are the arguments these people make. You never measure this in terms of just raw death. It doesn't make any sense. If somebody does I said this before, if somebody does a terrorist attack on your country and kills 5,000 civilians, you don't think like, okay, well, I'm going to go to war with them, but once we've killed 5,000, we're done because it's got to be equal exchange. Like, what the fuck is this? This is such a stupid fucking argument. Like, it's such a brain dead. I can't even believe. I don't even know why I'm saying this.
Like, what, 2,000? And what's the minimum number they talk about now on how many are dead in Gaza? 70,000, 80,000. In reality, I think it's like at least 200,000. By the way, for the record, that's what I think.
Okay, true. 200. That yes, true, King.
It is at least 200,000. But let's go with the low number of like 70,000. It's a mathematical reality that 70,000 innocent people being murdered by the Israeli government is...
Even, by the way, even Hamas doesn't make that claim, that all 70,000 are innocent. Even Hamas doesn't make that claim. I like how Kulinski is giving this as like the lower bound number when he's still exaggerating so much out of it. But okay, buddy.
A much higher number than about 2,000 being killed by Hamas on October 7th. That's the point. Are you now going to proceed to argue against math? Is that what you're going to do?
Oh, it's just math. It's just simple math. It's just math. It's just math.
Please try. Let me see how that works out for you.
On Hezbollah, he said, overall, what's my favorite flag? Hezbollah. Look it up. I'm not even kidding. It's actually a dope flag. It's got an AK on it and a fucking hand holding it.
Tim Miller is laughing. Why? Because when you talk about something like this, it's literally just how a flag looks. That's a fucking joke, okay? And that's why
What's the joke, though? What's funny? What's the joke? Notice how it's so funny because I said at the start of this, I said, I wonder if Kulinski is going to actually give an example because nobody ever does. To Kulinski's credit, he actually is going through them one at a time. But notice how he hasn't actually disagreed on a single example that it was taken out of context. He actually is defending or saying that all of them are correct. So nothing is actually out of context here. He just agrees with all of it.
Tim Miller is laughing. Again, what? Like, they're trying so fucking hard, and they're getting absolutely nothing. And by the way, don't take Hassan's word for it. There was an article that came out in the Telegraph, which they deleted because it got a little too close to the truth. And in that article, they spoke to Christians in Lebanon who were like, oh yeah, we got no problem with Hezbollah. They protect us from the psychotic Israelis.
What, like... You think that's the average opinion of somebody in like central and northern Lebanon? They're like, oh, we love Hezbollah. Yes, we love Hezbollah living down here. Thank God. If it wasn't for Hezbollah, Israel would be attacking us every single day and blowing us up and killing us. Oh my God. Well,
They thought we're going to go talk to the Christians in Lebanon, and they're all going to say Hezbollah's evil and wrong, and they're bad, and they're terrorists, and they're rapists, and they're this, and they're that. And they were like, oh no, they actually protect us from the Israelis, and they do Christmas celebrations, and they put up a Christmas tree, and they're all very nice to us. Like, again,
this is giving it's giving ABL energy. Anthony Bryan Logan, when that guy was like, actually, in the South, the KKK, they brought my family Christmas presents. Remember that argument? Oh my God.
And like, I know that the whole thing about being a right-winger is that you're a fucking idiot and you're incredibly ignorant about the world. But this is really something. You think you're in the Democratic tent and this is how you talk? You think you're in the Democratic tent? Please.
On Dan Crenshaw losing an eye in Afghanistan. What the fuck is wrong with this dude? I also dislike Dan Crenshaw, but I would not say this. Didn't he go to war and like literally lose his eye because of some mujahideen, a brave fucking soldier, fucked his eye hole with their dick?
Okay. Fuck Crenshaw. That's all I have to say about one. Fuck Crenshaw. But also, it was not out of context. Okay.
All right, y'all. New Kyle rule. You're allowed to say whatever the fuck you want to say to joke about how evil Republican politicians are. There are literally no lines when joking about how evil Republican politicians are. And if you have a problem with it, there's this little thing called free speech that I'm going to introduce you to. And by the way, as you're about to see here, Tim Miller is laughing at this one as well.
Because of some mujahideen, a brave fucking soldier, fucked his eye hole with their dick. On Israel being full of inbreds.
This is supposed to make people not like him? Oh my God. This next one too, this is another sad attempt at a guy. You ready?
You are left with a country that is packed to the fucking gills with the most inbred, uneducated, ultra-nationalist, rabid, Haredi population. On Russia's annexation...
Okay, so he's talking about the ultra-Orthodox, right? This is
annexation.
Okay.
Uneducated.
A guy, you ready?
You are left with a country that is packed to the fucking gills with the most inbred.
A country that is packed to the fucking gills. Packed to the fucking gills. What does that mean? Like 1% of the population? What does that sound like when somebody says this country's packed to the fucking gills with... What percentage of the population you just guess that as?
Uneducated, ultra-nationalist, rabid, Haredi population. On Russia's annexation...
Okay, so he's talking about the ultra-Orthodox, right? This is another Kyle rule. Sorry if this one offends people out there. You are allowed to joke around about how stupid and evil every single fundamentalist religious group is. No, you're not going to push us into the corner. You're not allowed to say that. I will say whatever the fuck I want about fundamentalist Christians and fundamentalist Muslims and fundamentalist Jews. Fundamentalists are fucking weird, dog. They're weird, they're fucked up, they're strange, they dress funny, they smell. There's a whole lot of... All the fundamentalists of all the different religions are fucking creepy. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. I'm secular, bro. I'm secular. People can live however they want to live, but I'm allowed to have opinions about that. And
all of them? Even George Floyd? Just kidding. What do you say? He might, actually. I don't know, because he's an atheist guy. Does he say the same about any of the Muslims ever? Because I wonder if he would call that Islamophobic. I'm
allowed to joke about that. And that's what Hassan was doing when he was calling them inbred. Okay? Like, again, I'm so sick of the fake outrage. I'm so fucking sick of it. Where we have a demented president, likely has Alzheimer's, who's this close to nuking an entire country of 90 million people, and we're supposed to talk about Hassan Piker's jokes and be outraged? I can't, bro.
Annexation of Crimea was absolutely a justifiable annexation. What do you call Crimea?
Oh man, how does he do this one? Whoo! Whew. So far, nothing out of context, just funny jokes and defensible stuff, but okay, go ahead. Whew, okay. Kyle, you can do this. Remember your Jill Stein endorsement, okay?
I can't, bro.
Annexation of Crimea was absolutely a justifiable annexation. What do you call Crimea? I call it part of Russian territory, bitch. I call it Crimea River, a Russian river. The annexation of...
Look, he's joking. Now, to be fair,
he's joking? What do you mean he's joking? He's not. He's defended the opinion like a few days ago. What part of it? What is that a joke? What's the joke? What's funny? What's the joke there? What is he joking about?
Absolutely was incorrect with his prediction.
Oh my God, I was going to make this prediction that he would say this. Oh, but I didn't think he actually would. Fuck, I was going to say this. This would have been a pre-watch moment. I was going to say Kyle Kulinski is going to say that Hassan actually walked back this statement because he was wrong about the invasion of Ukraine. But that has nothing to do with this. I didn't make that prediction because I didn't think he would actually say something so stupid. It's such a dumb thing to say. That has nothing to do with this claim. It's a totally different thing.
The annexation
Look, he's joking. Now to be
because it doesn't matter because Crimea was invaded in 2014, Kyle, not in 2022. Crimea had already been invaded. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to say he walked back the Crimea joke.
fair, he absolutely was incorrect with his prediction of what would happen. He thought that Russia was not going to invade Ukraine, which he was wrong, by the way. Pat myself on the back on that one. I kind of thought they were. I didn't understand why people were going out on a limb and saying, like, they're not going to invade. Well, then why are they doing the troop buildup on the border?
What do you mean you don't understand it? You're too stupid to understand your own side? The reason why people were saying it is because people like Hassan hate America. That's the entire perspective they have. So the idea that Russia was going to invade from Hassan's perspective, you can listen to stream, he talks about this. It was U.S. State Department propaganda designed to make people in the West hate Russia. That's it. It was bullshit. It was U.S. State Department propaganda to make Russia look like an unhinged aggressor. That's it. That was the rationale.
Right. So I think he was factually wrong about that. He would admit he was factually wrong about that. But this just sort of sounds like jokes. And I think at this point, Hassan, if you were to ask him, I think he would say, no, Ukraine has every right to defend themselves. And
this is 3 days ago?
What is this? The Ukraine takes galore? Buddy. No one fucking cares. The irony is, like, my Crimea position is, like, established as fact now, okay? I don't know why there are still like Ukrainian influencers that are like, oh, it's our opportunity to fucking once again talk about Hassan and claim he's like super fucking pro Vladimir Putin or whatever. It's just this is a lost cause. In some ways, it's
Hi, not much. Just sincerely, fuck this dude.
Which
God,
one?
I hate
Who?
him.
Hassan, Kulinski,
Kyle
or
Kulinski.
Mehdi Hassan?
Both of them, really, but. Oh, sorry, my Bluetooth doesn't work for some reason, so the sound must be horrible.
No, it was cutting out for a sec, but we have it now.
Okay, fine. It's just for the phone. It doesn't matter. Headphones don't work. This dude, okay? If I ever was scared to dye my hair because people joke that the dye goes to your hair, is this guy. It makes me terrified. I'm actually afraid. Because it's just how. Like, he literally defended this thing like a couple of days ago, yesterday, or whatever it was, right? That's literally what I have
on right now, yeah. We were 30 seconds into it, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like, what in this shit? Like, it has nothing to do with fucking 22 mistake, if that was a mistake. He's, like, mocking people there. He's mocking us. Yeah. And Crimean Tatars, by the way, indigenous people of that place, actually, by the way. I can't show this clip to my Crimean friends. They would like literally cry if they see it, okay?
Yeah.
It's so offensive. So it's just not to be dramatic because we're always supposed to be stoic fucking Slav memes, but like it's just, what is the joke? What's the joke?
That's the thing that I don't know if you've gotten this or if this rhetoric has made its way to Europe yet or Eastern Europe or whatever. But in America, people do this thing now. It was around the time that like all the centrist comedian guys started to take off, where when you would call them out on a thing, they would just say, well, this is a joke. But like, you understand that like jokes are not random collections of words that are put together trivially with no meaning around them. Like people say that it's just a joke, like it is a meaningless statement that doesn't convey some sort of thought or idea or message. Like it's so fucking stupid when people say this. Like if I could tell like a billion racist jokes or a billion anti-Semitic jokes or a billion anti-communist or anti-fascist or anti-capitalist or anti-black people, whatever, like there's a meaning that's carried by the jokes. There's a reason why it's funny. And it's usually because there's like some similarity in thought or ideology. You like agree with the punchline of the joke. But I wish that people would ask these guys, but they never will because these guys never go on platforms that provide any pushback because they're all fucking pussies, okay? And when I say pussy, I mean scared to have a conversation on Zoom kind of pussies, okay? Nobody ever asked them, oh, it was a joke. Can you explain the punchline? Why is it funny? Like nobody ever asks that fucking question. It is so annoying to me. Ugh.
Yeah, it's not something that really is here, to be honest. People don't cover their beliefs by saying it's a joke, haha. Mm-hmm. Like maybe it's like a cultural difference or something, I'm not sure. But like in this particular case, like where do we find the joke?
Yeah.
I mean, I know what's the joke. We are the joke.
Yeah, the joke is that is that you agree with it. That's the joke. Like it's not a joke. You're making fun of the people. Yeah.
So he's saying that just because a Russian Empire back in the day, right, annexed Crimea from, by the way, hilariously, the Turks, it means that they have some sort of forever legitimacy to this territory. And then he proceeds, by the way, to say that fuck sovereignty of Ukraine. Who cares? Like, are you what are you, a liberal or something like that? He says, like, who cares about sovereignty, right?
Sure.
And like in this argument, he basically just shits all over international law because like borders don't matter. He's a commie.
Mm-hmm.
So then he makes an argument basically appealing to might makes right because like they took this territory, thus it's theirs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he also makes appeal to the Russian people who are living there in the whole thing with the context, with the infamous fucking context they always talk about, which by the way is extra hilarious because they will literally, you know, move there, the Russians.
There's a funnier thing though too. That is
genocided
funny.
Tatars.
Yep.
So
but the ultimate irony though of this argument is whatever argument Russia could make for being allowed to take over Crimea, why the fuck could Israel not make that argument for the West Bank and the Gaza Strip?
That's like, my question.
If these are the arguments that he wants to roll with, what the fuck are we even what are we doing here?
Yeah, I wrote that like on my Twitter, like what was his defense of Palestine again? Because like what is it? Like none of it applies here for some reason. And so apparently if you just remove the entire population, unironically, like all of them, like all of them, you remove them to Siberia, to fucking Kazakhstan, to Cape, half of them dies, by the way, on the road, and then you replace them with your people, then that gives you the right to the place, I guess.
Yeah. That's how they see it.
I mean, base.
Only when it's their side. It's only when they agree with it, though, of course, right?
Yeah, it's just so to Kulinski then, like, has he never seen it? Like, the arguments, like, does he know nothing, or he just simply just is a malicious fuck that knows exactly what he's doing, but it is in his best interest to defend Hassan, so he does it.
If you're ever trying to understand kind of like how the Hassan stuff works for the United States, you just have to look at just pretend that it's like Trump, like Hassan is like Trump, and then these people are like Sean Hannity or Kristi Noem or Pam Bondi or any of the people. Like that's just basically how it goes. Like you have to figure out any possible way that you can defend the positions, and then you go in that direction. Yeah.
So fucking yikes! Like bro laughs like it's like hey lol, you know. It's just what are we laughing at?
Yeah.
Like. Does that woman show the boat shit, or doesn't she go there? I just wonder how on earth can you defend that fucking thing?
Oh, I don't know. We're only 15 minutes in, so we'll see. Yeah.
Oh well, I guess. Yeah, it's just I don't know, dude. It's just what in the actual shit? Like it's not the fucking the recent defense as well. Like I was right about what?
Yeah.
He's like, everyone thinks that about Crimea, and like what? That Russia annexed it legally? No.
Yeah. Keep in mind too, for these lefties, like it doesn't come up anymore because we don't really have the conversation anymore because we don't talk about Ukraine. But like all of these people also completely believe in the idea that the reason why the war happened, right? Like it's not good to attack, but it happened because of the Victoria Nuland call, which proved that the 2014 Euromaidan was a CIA coup and NATO expansion. Yeah, they all believe this 100%. Yeah.
Like, I swear I saw fucking in 22 so much shit has happened that it's difficult to memorize everything. But I swear to fucking God that I saw Hassan watching that Gravel video slope.
Oh,
and then he deleted it. And then, that Gravel dog shit that they didn't delete it themselves about Ukraine. There was like this fucking Muslim lady with a hijab or some shit. I don't know. Yeah, it's like, what? And she was like, Bandera this, Bandera that, far right sector this, Nazis in Ukraine this, Nazis in Ukraine that. And bro just played this like blatant propaganda.
Yeah, and you're right. It was so shameless and so bad. And the Gravel Institute, their audience are like pretty far left, but it was such a bad video. Even their audience was like, bro, this is like so fucking off.
I remember like even on YouTube. Only the most like unhinged Stalinist fucking commie sloppers were like pleased with it because they're obsessed with fucking Ukrainian Nazis since the dawn of time, since the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But it's just the most people even on that video were like, what in the shit? And they like deleted it, but Hassan watched it and showed it to like fucking how many people watched it. Like a lot of people watch his shit, right? And I don't even remember if he said anything. I think he like just sat there like a dumb fuck and like nodded basically.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's just I hate myself, dude. Like, I hate myself that I was interacting with those people and I was like trying to prove to them something and like explaining things to them. Like, why was I arguing about fucking Nazis collaborations in Ukraine? My country, okay, had collaboration rate below 1%. Why in the God's name, okay, I am supposed to defend any of that? Like, below one, it
and these people, like, meanwhile, they're like, they'll make excuses for why, like the Molotov-Ribbentrop or whatever, that wasn't actually like a real alliance. That was just like a temporary. That wasn't like a whatever.
Oh, I know.
Like, they'll always make excuses for that. They'll always bring up Operation Paperclip, but they won't bring up the fact that the Soviet Union took even more Nazi scientists from Germany. Like, it's just it's a joke. Yeah, it's all just a joke.
Like below 1%. Like, I'm gonna leave you with just this one. It's a full mind blast. Like, I still remember this. I got an email from a commie Italian, okay?
Okay.
I didn't even know that was a thing, but apparently it was. So it was a leftist Italian, basically, who watched American, commie YouTubers, I guess, like lefty YouTubers, Hassan in particular. So he wrote me a huge email where he was basically saying how we are Nazis and because we collaborated and because Bandera. And I was like, and we don't deserve support because of that. And I was like, you're Italian. Like, what? Like, I'm a guy that was like the biggest ally of Germany during World War II is telling me that we are huge collaborators that did a doozy and unforgivable sin by having below 1% collaboration rate.
Yeah.
I was like, I was like looking at this email, like, are you sure you're Italian? He just wasn't buying it. And I'm like, are you certain you're from Italy? Because if you are, then what in the actual shit? I'm just so over it. I'm not defending like any of that shit anymore. Like, go fuck yourself. Like, I don't care. Like, those people never will be satisfied with literally any answer. They would like dick suck that guy. I don't remember how he's called, but the Palestinian dude who was like sucking off Hitler in every picture. Like,
it's it was the guy who was the Mustafa or whatever the fuck of Palestine before 47.
I don't remember the name, but like, the guy. Yeah, you seen him like on pictures, and like, you know what? I actually like. I'm not a reader, okay? So I can understand that Palestinians collaborated with Hitler, probably thinking they could, get Israel out of there, like Jews and shit like that. So like, I'm not supporting that obviously, but I'm like, I can understand like the logic of like collaborating with literally anyone to get like your independence, your like self-determination shit. Like, and like, why I can say that? And they are like, they're losing their minds over motherfucking one guy, Okay, there was UPA, obviously, who also collaborated his, thing. But it's like below 1% of population. It's not worth even mentioning. It's like a blip in the fucking history, okay? Yeah, anyway, it's just, Mehdi Hassan can also go fuck himself, honestly. Like, I was always a hater, but like now I'm vindicated hater.
Yeah. Yep.
What a dog shit tweet. Although I don't have to talk with you about that. You like went off on and on. Like, you quote tweeted each other like 5 times. I lost count at some point.
It was just so... It's funny that he tried to back it off into like, well, aren't they both victims of like an illegal war? And it's like, maybe, but like the strongest part of the tweet that he made wasn't that they were both victims of war. It was that that Zelensky had no moral high ground anymore.
Credibility.
You want to know the most shameful thing was? And it took another tweet to point this out to me. Fuck me. The most shameful thing was that I didn't actually read all of the underlying tweet. I assumed that Zelensky had made like a stronger condemnation or whatever of Iran, and it was another person who tweeted out, they quote tweeted Mehdi Hassan, and they were like, if you read this Mehdi Hassan tweet, you probably, even if you disagree with Mehdi, you probably thought that Zelensky was coming down hard on Iran. But Zelensky was basically just saying like, hey, like what happened to the UN and like securing like travel through the straits and everything else. Like it wasn't even like a fuck Iran tweet. I'm like, why the fuck are you fighting? What the fuck are you even tweeting about this for, Mehdi? Why are we talking about that? Yeah, it's so cringe.
Like David, like just explain to me, like you have this, like I believe Mehdi is like 2 dual citizenship guy, so he's like American and UK UK, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. Maybe, yeah.
Yes, so like you supposedly like he was on this like Jubilee thing when he was saying that he's a citizen of the United States. I remember, and I'm like, you're like Trump, right? President. He did this the fucking Trump thing with Iran. They like attacked Iran for, we already spoke about this, so we're not gonna repeat the exact same shit, but with like absolutely bullshit fucking reason, bomb school kids, fucking countries of your allies got bombed like for no fucking, like all sorts of retardation. And of all people, like now they're making this deal allegedly that is like the most cringe bitch made fucking surrender in history of mankind. But like talk about any of that. Like any of that, like any Republicans, fucking like people who supported or people who whitewashed how retarded I was, like talk to anyone. No, you pick upon a fucking president of Ukraine who is like, damn dog, UN is like not doing that great. Like seriously.
Yeah.
Like seriously, and you're saying that he lost all credibility because
all
he
moral
doesn't.
Credibility, yeah, so stupid.
Because we want Iranian regime to be gone. Like we are daily terrorized because of Iran and Russia. Like Russia mostly, obviously, they're attacking us. But it's Iran who gave them the technology, the weaponry, the dynamic. And we have 50,000 strikes, dude. 50,000 strikes of Shahed. Like, can you shut the fuck up?
I'm really curious, and there's no way to prove it. I'm so curious if I'm being, I don't know. If Zelensky wasn't Jewish, I wonder if he would have made the same tweet. I'm not actually sure.
Okay, I don't know about that, but like,
man. I don't know, man. It's hard to know sometimes, but Jesus.
Yeah, but the fact that he's Jewish just makes people sleepless. Okay, they just can't stop themselves. It's just they were like, what the fuck? And they were like, what even is he doing wrong? He went to the fucking Middle Eastern countries that were bombed. Like, what did he do? He didn't even visit Israel, by the way. He visited like Saudi Arabia, fucking United Emirates, the Kuwait or Arabia, all of that. But not he didn't go to Israel even. Like what was wrong?
Yeah. No, it's
why are we held to this fucking, I don't know, like idiotically high moral standard as well? Like, can't we be mad at a regime that like people are blown up?
Yeah.
Blown up like to fucking pieces every day.
Yeah, I agree.
Sure. And we're not even mad at the Iranian people. Like Zelensky made a bunch of supportive tweets about the people, by the way. And he was like, yeah, we support the people fighting against this government, like, they're being oppressed and discriminated and like killed and prosecuted, right, by the Iranian regime. So we never even made the fucking, all Russian memes that we do, right? Because like we know objectively that a lot of people in Iran are very much not happy with this fucking government, and they showed it when they were fucking massacred on the streets. And like I don't have like any like sort of hatred towards them whatsoever. But the regime itself, like what obviously we fucking hate those guys. Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Never mind the fucking international sponsor of terrorism and
or the
all
infinite
the other
excuses that are made for any of the Arabs surrounding Israel for them to conduct themselves in the most egregious manner possible. Is always like understandable because of their quote unquote oppression.
Yeah, but nothing for us.
Yeah.
Not a shred of like empathy and understanding. Fuck all. Go fuck yourself. Oh my god, dude. Sometimes you just feel like I just don't like to be like this, a lot of complaining and like, but it just feels so ungodly unfair. Like so much grace is given to fucking anyone, but nothing to us.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway.
It's pretty dumb. It's pretty unreal, yeah.
Okay, that was a little bit pleasant because I was annoyed as fuck. I had a very pleasant day and then a very unpleasant day reading all of it. One day on Twitter was fun because all Europeans were trolling. There was like this one guy, I don't know if you know who that was, but he like posted this, Europeans don't even understand how like angry Americans are at them, how furious we are that they like didn't support us with like this whole fucking Iran shit, and also
Jesus
ripping
Christ.
us off. All the talking points, like cringe ass thing. I maybe can send you that. That was like the most talked about tweet on my feed. And like all the Europeans started memeing about the drinking like coffee, smoking cigarettes, like on vacations because it's like Easter and stuff like that, like 4 or 5 day vacations. And like we are so concerned, dude. We are so upset that Americans are mad. Oh no! Americans are furious. Yeah, but the post was so cringe, and you like fuck everyone over, and then you're mad, like unironically shit the bed, and now other people need to clean it, and they're mad at us.
Yep. It's so dumb that they're like, we had this conversation so many times about how like, well, you can't just say these things and do these horrible things and do this over and over again, and like. The response was always like, oh, like it's just words. It's just the president. He's just trolling. And it's like, you're like the words that your leaders say are some of the most important things about the leader. Like you can't just say whatever. And then now Trump gets himself in the stupidest scenario imaginable. And then now he's crying that nobody else is helping him after he's like shit on all of our relationships harder than any president has in the history of the entire United States. Like, what the fuck did you think would happen?
Yeah, for no reason.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah, and for no reason. True. For no reason.
Yeah. It's just that, I just don't, it's just very funny though. But I honestly, my sister was like concerned, and she came up to me and she's like, oh, more about the whole, like, Western stuff. Do you think like he would actually nuke Iran? So that was a serious question.
Yeah.
So people was actually like a little bit concerned if he will do that. And I'm like, well, and I thought myself that I think no, I think it's a bluff.
Maybe.
But also at the same time, I realized that I was less certain than about Putin, unironically. Because, like, I know that Putin has, like, rattled the fucking nukes and used them as a threat, like, million fucking times, and nobody, believes it at this point. Some people don't even think they fucking work over there, okay?
Yeah.
But in the case of, like, Trump, there's literally, like, I don't even know, like, what to even expect at this point. I guess I should have expected him being just a typical bitch-made moron that he is, because he was like, the civilization will end, and the next day, like, we accept new terms. Yeah,
which we're not. I don't even know what's going on with that, but we'll see in the next few days, I guess. Yeah,
but it just seems like such a fucking Russia thing to do as well. Like, first they were like special military operation, memes instead of a war. We're like, heard that somewhere. And then they're like, okay, so, you do this, otherwise we will destroy you, and, basically threaten to use, I guess, nuclear weapons, or at the very least some, like, supermassive bombing of people that will destroy the whole civilization. And then the next day, no, we're actually negotiating, and, there's, like, this peace plan. On the other day, it's like, oh, I don't care about Hormuz. On the other day, open the fucking street.
Yeah.
The next day, like, it's just, what? I don't know, dude.
Nobody does.
Yeah, and that's not cool.
It's not
some
cool.
might say.
Very not cool.
Well, anyway, enjoy fucking bleach hair, Morany, and the rest. Also, Hassan called Karim a fucking Ukrainian activist. Bro, Karim? Like, how the fuck do you look at this name and think, yeah, Ukrainian activist. Like, such an American guy, though. You gotta appreciate. He's your culturally. He's your man. Okay,
that's our man. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, bye. Good luck, I guess.
Yeah. Have fun. Be careful. Stay safe. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. I'll replay this, but this was a few days ago for Hassan.
What is this? The Ukraine takes galore? Buddy. No one fucking cares. The irony is, like, my Crimea position is like established as fact now, okay? I don't know why there are still like Ukrainian influencers that are like, oh, it's our opportunity to fucking once again talk about Hassan and claim he's like super fucking pro Vladimir Putin or whatever.
I also just like this framing of like, God, like, are we still talking about Ukraine, Russia? Meanwhile, every fucking day.
It's just, this is a lost cause. In some ways, it's identical to.
This is a lost cause the lost cause of Crimea that's been taken for 10 years or 12 years. Meanwhile, Israel-Palestine, that's definitely not a lost cause. One more Arab war. One more terrorist attack, and Israel's going down.
The way people talk about Israel and like defending Israel in the Western world, you know? It's so ridiculous, okay? What is this? The Ukraine takes galore.
So, thank you, Kulinski. He absolutely walked this take back. Thank you for that one, Kulinski. True.
Ukraine. Well, then why are they doing the troop buildup on the border, right? So I think he was factually wrong about that. He would admit he was factually wrong about that. But this just sort of sounds like jokes. And I think at this point, Hassan, if you were to ask him, I think he would say, no, Ukraine has every right to defend themselves. And Ukraine in this
That's not the question, though. That's not even what was being asked, but okay.
Instance are the victims and Russia is the imperialist aggressor. I think he would admit this because it's true. Right?
No, he wouldn't.
It's true. In this scenario, like Russia is Israel and Ukraine are the Palestinians. And so if you support
almost as bad as the comparison to Iran, but okay, buddy.
Fighting oppression, you would back the Ukrainians, right?
Black people care about the border. I don't give a fuck what black people care about. Black people care about this. Black people care about
this. Is like completely out of context. If my
oh wait, what's the context on this one?
Memory serves me right, he was going after Black MAGA, being like, oh,
what? No, he was going after. Wasn't he going? Hold on. Well, I don't know. Does anybody have the context for that clip? I thought he was annoyed by black liberals that were playing too much into the identity politics because he wanted to focus on the class-related stuff. Does anybody have a link to that? Who has a link to the whole black people comment?
Black people care about the border. I don't give a fuck what black people care about. Black people care about this. Black people care about
this. Is like completely out of context. If my memory serves me right, he was going after Black MAGA, being like, oh.
Okay, so this is the first one where he's made an out of context claim. All the other ones he's justified, but this one he says is out of context. Hassan says doesn't care about black people. Can I find the original?
When it comes to
oh, 2 minutes. Okay, hopefully this has enough.
When it comes to black folks, you really don't want to talk about us unless it comes from voting. When is the last time you spoke about Sudan? I'm gonna fucking ether you.
Sudan. Now, to be fair, conservatives, Black MAGA is really up on Sudan. That's like a big thing for them. Like you guys have heard them, right? Black MAGA always complains about like the conditions in Sudan and stuff.
When it comes to black folks, you really don't want to talk about us unless it comes from voting. When is the last time you spoke about Sudan? I'm gonna fucking ether you. Any other black folk want to engage in radical activist language in this fucking chat? Suck my fucking cock, okay? You stupid fucking radlib. Get the fuck out of here.
Radlib, I think, is a slur we use for MAGA, right? Radlib, I think, is a slur we use for MAGA. Radlib, right?
A fucking cock, okay? You stupid fucking radlib. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of my chat.
Stop meowing so much. Why are they meowing so much? Stop.
Fucking stupid, moronic, fucking radlib nonsense. Suck my fucking dick. Fuck you.
Okay. Hold on. A minute and a half. More context. There's more context.
You think you have a pass in here to fucking speak like this? Get the fuck out of here.
Hold on. It's coming. The context is coming. I promise.
Dumb fuck. You think I'm gonna fucking baby you?
Wait for it. Hold on.
Go ahead. Go post a fucking clip about how much of a fucking white supremacist I am. Suck my dick.
Yeah, he's definitely talking to a conservative there. It's coming. Hold on.
Annoying. Dumb fuck. God damn, dude. This kind of attitude is so insanely repulsive. Like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? We're talking about fucking creating a larger, broad, people-backed movement and fucking creating solidarity, and you immediately got Root.com article regurgitators in here instantly being like...
Root.com, very popular far-right publication, by the way.
Sweetie, you don't understand black people. Shut the fuck up. God damn. That attitude left a long fucking time ago. It doesn't work, okay? Keep advocating for your own fucking demise then. Fucking standpoint theory ass motherfuckers. Oh my God.
Standpoint epistemology, well-known right wing. Hold on, wait. Somebody said this was not the same black people quote. Was this a different black people quote? Hold on.
Completely out of context. If my memory serves me right,
people care about black people care about this. Black people care about
this. Is like
black people care about the border. I don't give a fuck what black people care about. Black people care about this. Black people care about
this.
Oh wait, I don't know if he brought up the border thing in that one. Wait, this is a different black person clip. Hold on, wait. Sorry.
Like it or not, black people care about the border. Man, shut the fuck up. Black people care about the border. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, he's watching. This is a MAGA rally. I think that. Who's speaking in the background?
Like it or not, black people care about the border. Man, shut.
I think it's Candace Owens.
Like it or not, black people care about the border. Man, shut the fuck up. Black people care about the border. I don't give a fuck what black people care about. The Democratic Party literally is going to
Wait, he misspoke. He meant Republican Party, I think.
Fucking lose. Even if they don't lose, move the country to a significantly more right-wing position. Oh, black people care about this. Black people care about that. Like, shut the fuck up. That's not how politics works. I hate that. I hate this, like, shield, okay? I hate this fucking idiotic shield, okay? Oh, well, Hassan, how dare you? Like it or not, black people care about this issue. It's like, it's such a fucking stupid stance, okay? It's such an idiotic stance. Nobody...
Hi, hello?
Hello.
Oh, hi, what's up?
Hey, dude. Not much. You still playing this this Mugenics game? What is this game, by the way? We gotta get
it's a cat game, but we're listening to Hassan right now. What do you want? We've got Hassan going on.
I just want to say that if you care about this kind of stuff and you want to make a difference, then on Friday we are doing a live stream to promote the next candidacy program. And if you want to help us out, you should go to that live stream on Friday. And also, if you want to get involved, if you want to go to one of these events, if you want to participate in the house program, if you want to do anything, go join our Discord or fill out this Google form that I'm linking in DGG chat and YouTube chat. Okay, love you, buddy. Bye.
Love you. Be careful.
He operates stance, okay? It's such an idiotic stance. Nobody operates like this, okay? Black people don't operate like this either. Shut the fuck up. Stop using this as a fucking shield. Liberals are fucking racist. Okay, he was just memeing around, I guess. Liberals are fucking racist? Oh, I thought this guy was joking. You seriously think there are no racist liberals? No, I think that there are a shit ton of racist liberals. What is wrong with you? Take your fucking meds, man.
I love how Kulinski can just fucking lie. Am I about to burn the Medi bridge by throwing the... I wonder if you would have tweeted this if Zelensky wasn't a Jew. I won't do it. I won't go that far. Okay. Sorry.
And so if you support fighting oppression, you would back the Ukrainians, right?
Black people care about the border. I don't give a fuck what black people care about. Black people care about this. Black people care about...
This is like completely out of context. If my memory serves me right, he was going after black MAGA. being like, oh, I don't care what, because there's some black people who are hard right wingers. That's supposed to like stop me from opposing them. Like, fuck that. I don't care what these black people think of it. That's what he meant.
Like, it's so funny because you got to wonder. The thing that I like about, I've always said this, lying is more interesting than telling the truth. Because somebody tells you the truth, they're just telling you what they think. But when somebody lies, like, why would you lie about this? Where did the lie come from? Like, I'm so curious. Did Hassan tell him this? Did his audience tell him this? Did he make this lie up on his own? I don't think I've ever seen this particular lie before. Why would he be confident enough? He prepared the segment for the stream, right? He watched this in advance. So why would he be confident enough to just completely and totally flat out fucking lie about the context of this, where this comes from?
And again, she's trying to frame it like he's racist against all black people. It's just, this is so try hard.
That, like, shut the fuck up. That's not how politics work. And then, I don't know if this is I don't know how to, I'm not going to rank these, but this one's a real doozy. Date rape is better if it happens to rich women. If you have these fucking billionaire WASP fail sons, at least taking them out of other colleges so they can only do date rape to other millionaire failed daughters is in some respects, from a utilitarian perspective.
I like how Tim Miller's just taking this all in.
Of course, a little bit better. Okay, Piker told off a listener who condemned the massacre on October 7th, a bloodthirsty, violent pig dog suck my dick.
Okay, huge retard question. I'm sorry, Destiny. Isn't the question about black people caring about the border talking to black MAGA in a sense? Like, yes, it's still retarded to say, I don't care what the ethnic portion of the voting bloc think in regards to the election, but black MAGA would be swayed by a strong border, right? No. The issue is, remember, progressives think that every single person in the country would agree with their policy platform, or tankies now, socialists think they would agree with them if they just knew well enough what the policy platform was. But the issue is that a lot of people wouldn't agree with that platform. And even ethnic minorities, of which progressives and then socialists have always said are like their number one champions, are really not in step with a lot of this. So like, they want their neighborhoods to be policed, believe it or not. Even black communities had a majority positive view of wanting police neighborhoods. The idea of like abolish all cops and get rid of the police forces, or any of these other, or like fuck, who cares about anything that happens on the border? That's just not true. Black people, Hispanic people, all these other people care about drugs in their neighborhoods and crime and border shit and illegal immigrants and all that. They all care about this stuff too. That was what was being brought up. Kamala Harris had to speak to the border issue. Unfortunately, because Republicans managed to make it a massive fucking talking point. And Hassan is like, well, we shouldn't care about this. Who the fuck cares? But like, yeah, even minorities in the United States care about stuff like this. And that's what Hassan was speaking to. I don't give a fuck what black minorities think about in the U.S. You need to get on board with our class issues. You nincompoop.
Okay, so that's the guy. That's the guy. I do not think any Democrat should look to include him in their coalition. And here's the thing. You mentioned my book at the top. I just wrote a whole book that is going to come out in September. It is 300 pages. It's called How to Eat an Elephant One Voter at a Time. It is 300 pages about how you build a winning coalition.
You gave Kamala bad advice. You are the last person we should listen to.
That recommends cozying up to people like Hassan Piker. I talk a lot about big tents. I talk a lot about pro-democracy coalition. But here's the thing. Hassan Piker doesn't actually belong in the pro-democracy coalition.
She's doing the takfir. You're not a real Democrat. When she came yesterday to this party.
Illiberal guy. He's a China, Russia sympathizer who hates women, hates Israel. Like, he's all the toxic things. And I think, and I was listening to you last night, and I was like, my biggest problem with it, because I agree with you in some places, my biggest problem is I felt like you were soft selling who this guy is.
No, you're smearing him and you're lying about him. Now, finally.
So basically nothing that was said was out of context. Kulinski has admitted that and defending almost everything. The one thing that he said was out of context, Kulinski is just lying about. He just lied about what the background to the clip was, but okay.
Let's get to the heart of the matter here, the real truth of the situation. This is what Sarah Longwell really believes. Here we go.
But here's the thing about the cheering that I loved. Speaking of Stonewall, but also...
I should point out, this was just before the election, right before the election, okay?
So I think it's amazing when you get 75,000, presumably, libs on the ellipse, and she's like, we're going to have the most lethal fighting force. And people are like, yeah.
So she loves it when Kamala sounds more like a warmonger than Trump.
Having a lethal fighting force is not being a warmonger. The United States military, whether you're pro or anti-war, should be a lethal fighting force. Like, that's important that we're able to protect ourselves, to protect our allies, to protect trade routes, whether we're talking the Strait of Hormuz, which really shouldn't be in question, or up to the Suez, the Red Sea, or whatever the fuck, that the Yemeni fuckers were bombing, right? Like, it's important to have a lethal military. The idea that that makes you a warmonger is just stupid. It's just stupid.
That's what she's describing here. So presumably, it stands to logical deduction. She would hate it if Kamala was out there like, I'm anti-war. We're not going to go to war with Iran. right? We're not going to, keep arming and funding Israel as they do a genocide. I'm against war.
Like, Kamala was calling for a total ceasefire. That wasn't enough for these guys because, like I said, you can never make enough concessions for these people. And if you think that Kamala would be at war with Iran in the way that Trump is, you're delusional. I'm sorry, you're just delusional.
She would not like that. She's not.
Destiny, do you think it's safe to say that Kyle is a full-on anti-Dem rat fucker at this point? I've been saying this for over a year, but my audience doesn't believe me on it, but whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, no, Kyle Kulinski's always been, like, fucking permanently brain broken on everything. Domestically, he's okay, but especially as soon as foreign anything gets involved, the Jill Stein chip activates in his brain, and he just becomes the most retarded motherfucker in the universe.
Done though. Tell us more.
It's lethal fighting force, and people are like, yeah. And she's like, and we're going to secure the border, and people are like, yeah.
So defeating MAGA by doing MAGA, defeating MAGA by taking their policies and doing them, but like do them more liberally.
We are going to be leaders in the world, and we're not going to let these guys push us around. And I was like, man, the world's really changed.
Did the neocons just take over the Democratic Party?
Don't say that.
Yeah, don't say it.
Did the neocons just take over the Democratic Party? Ha 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 ha! Don't say that. You're putting a little too much truth out there about how.
Like, the funny thing is that, like, one of the nice things about Kamala's campaign was that ideally we were taking back some things that were seen as exclusively Republican. Like, one of the nice talking points, and I think it was a nice talking point, was at the Trump rallies, you saw the flag waving shit. Or, I'm sorry, the flags that they were waving were like, send all the immigrants home or whatever. But at the Kamala rally, there were a lot of American flags. For whatever reason, as sad as it is, being like pro your military people and being pro America and being patriotic are like co-opted by the right wing. And it was nice to fight back on that territory a little bit. I think that was a good thing, but.
We want the Democratic Party to be. How we want them to be. Diet MAGA. That's what this is. Diet fucking MAGA. In the same way, it's diet neoconservatism from the George W. Bush era. Okay, so you want the Democrats to be more right wing. That's what you want.
Look, man, she's leaning into, I'm going mainstream. And, whenever she does, there's a couple, price gouging or whatever. I'm like, boo. But like.
So one of the best parts of Kamala's campaign.
One of the most retarded parts of Kamala's campaign. But again, these people only support retard policy, but okay.
When she was up 6 points and she was talking about how she's going to ban price gouging for groceries.
This was never the reason why shit was getting expensive. This delusional take from lefties that the only reason anything is expensive in the United States is because all these corporations are price gouging us infinitely. And that's it. If we just ban price gouging, everything will be cheap again. We'll get rid of all the inflation. It's okay.
She was booing that. Pro-war and pro-price gouging. And she's the one who's going to police the borders of the Democratic coalition. Are you fucking kidding? Have you no fucking shame? So as Ryan Grimm points out, quote, whenever Kamala Harris does something like price gouging, I'm like, boo, but also whatever. Sarah Longwell, former Republican political operative, boasting that her faction has made Democrats more hawkish, and the cost of that is to once in a while have to hear something they don't like about corporate price gouging. It is one thing to be pro-price gouging because you are a corporate lobbyist. I understand that. But to try to pitch it as something that makes Democrats more electable is comical. Ladies and gentlemen, this woman is a fucking idiot. You know what happens?
It's one thing to be pro-price gouging. True.
Happens when Democratic politicians listen to Hassan Piker? Zoran Mamdani happens. That's how. Kyle, that's only.
Remember when Zoran was solely elected because of Hassan Piker campaigning for him?
In fucking New York, and that can't happen anywhere else. We'll see. Okay. All right. So Leah Greenberg, who is one of the co-founders of the organization behind the No Kings protest, she says, personally, I am team #Big Tent, but if we're going to start kicking people out of the party on brand/moral grounds, I would like to nominate, number one, the foreign policy team behind the Gaza genocide, and number two, every Dem former elected/staffer who takes a cushy job with an overtly evil company. That includes fucking Kalshi, that includes AI companies, that includes crypto companies, that includes Wall Street, that includes big oil. Okay? So here's what she's saying. Oh, are we really going to police these the boundaries and the borders of the Democratic coalition? Well, let's start with the pro-genocide motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Let's start with that, okay?
True.
And let's start with the corrupt sellouts who take big money from the Epstein class.
The
and she's
Epstein
exactly
class.
fucking right.
True.
That's who gets kicked the fuck out of the coalition. The people who are diet MAGA Democrats because they just genuinely agree with the right.
Diet MAGA, Epstein class, Hassan derangement syndrome. Like, you want to talk about MAGA light? Here it is, right here.
I'm sorry, but if you're not on the left, you're not with us. We need to have some defining principles and defining policies on what it means to be in this coalition. And from my perspective, you need to be center-left, liberal, leftist, independent, or apolitical. Like, that's it. If you're right of center, sorry, not interested. And the fact of the matter is there are way more of us than there are of them. There are way more.
There's always so many more, but for some reason they can just never fucking win any elections fucking anywhere, and they have no real fucking voice in our legislative body, and they can't fucking put pressure on Democrats in any place besides the bluest fucking places in the country, and even then they usually lose. But there are so many of them. Trust me, there's so many of them.
People who fit into the coalition I just described then fit into MAGA or any kind of right-wing coalition. And then finally, here's Ro Khanna, and he's asked about this, and I think he does a pretty good job sort of putting into perspective how stupid this entire conversation is. Here we go.
You have made several appearances on a show hosted by socialist commentator Hassan Piker. Some of your fellow Democrats, though, have raised alarms about his views. Here are two members of a left-leaning think tank. This is how they put it. They wrote, quote, "No left-wing agitator is more influential and extreme than Twitch streamer Hassan Piker. He's referred to ultra-Orthodox Jews as inbred, employed anti-Semitic dog whistles, bloodthirsty violence."
Epic. Epic. And you know what? Fuck the Orthodox Jews. It is pretty epic. But I guarantee you that if anybody were to make a comment like this about literally any fucking Arabic or Arab person, of which I'm pretty sure there are countries where just because of how closely knit all of the fucking genetic ancestry is, like you can make arguments for high degrees of fucking inbreeding or whatever the fuck, depending on what you qualify it. I'm guarantee you that Kulinski would call this Islamophobic. 100 million %.
Pig dog against an anti-Hamas viewer of his stream, compared liberal Zionists to liberal Nazis, and said
this is so dishonest how they're framing it.
Hamas is 1,000 times better than the Israeli state. Now, Hassan Piker,
again, mathematically speaking, yes, the death numbers, but okay, let's just fucking smear him. Anyway, let's listen to his response.
Some of his comments have been taken out of context, but he largely stands by them. Do you have any regrets about appearing on his show?
None, and I would go again. But I, of course, condemn those comments. I mean, I've described Hamas as a terrorist state, and we need to unequivocally condemn anti-Semitism. But Hassan Piker was at the DNC in 2024, covering Vice President Harris. What should the standard of the Democrats be? Should we not go on Theo Vaughn? Should we not go on Sean Ryan? Should we not go on Joe Rogan? Should we just have these purity tests of canceling folks? The lesson of the last election is we've got to be out there. We've got to engage. It's a complex, messy, multiracial democracy. I will defend my views, but the people who are saying don't engage will cost us future elections.
I think he handled that well. I mean, look, if I was sitting in the chair, I would have taken head on a lot of the lies and smears that were directed at Hassan about how they're just flat out lying about this guy and his beliefs.
Lying, yeah.
But I understand that as a politician, he's in a slightly different situation. But I think he handled that well to say, it was 7 minutes ago that all you idiots were saying we're going to go on all the podcasts, we're going to talk to all the people, we're going to try to win over everybody. Now all of a sudden, you're shunning the left flank. So apparently, the outreach to expand the tent only cut to the right. Which meant what? All you idiots are just trying to make the party more right-wing, which has been the fucking problem.
By the way, if you look at polling in the Democratic Party, most Democrats want the party to moderate a bit. Like it's like 80%. Or 80 or 90% think it's either where it should be or want them to moderate a bit more. It's like 10% of these extreme left people. But
all along, the further left you go, the more you'll win. And the more you'll actually stand for something from a moral perspective and an ethical perspective.
The morality.
Right? The more you'll actually be good people.
Of course.
And by the way, the further left you go, the harder you oppose MAGA.
Wow.
So I'm tired of the diet MAGA bullshit. I'm tired of the Hassan derangement syndrome. And I need everybody to wake up and realize what's going on here.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm.
Jesus. Uh-oh. What is this? California influencer embraced by Dems went on racist anti-Asian rant. Remember, it will never be the call for deplatforming Hassan, and it will always be the call for using him to attack the Democrats, because the Republicans know how insanely important it is to keep him around. This is why Hassan is never going to be banned from any platform. He's never going to be demonetized on any platform. Ted Cruz was tweeting about it earlier. A Democrat candidate for Senate in Michigan thinks it's politically advantageous to campaign with a Marxist Islamist who believes America deserved 9/11. This is today's Democrat Party. Democrat spokesperson Hassan Piker goes off on a Vietnamese refugee who escaped communism.
suffering under
we watch this, but
the communist regime, and we believe that.
Okay, fuck you, dude. I mean, seriously, fuck you, old lady. Shut the fuck up, you stupid fucking idiotic old lady with your stupid fucking gamer headset. Who has fucked you harder, America or fucking Ho Chi Minh? Suck my dick, old lady. God damn, dude. Yo, fuck this refugee, okay? Seriously, fuck this South Vietnamese motherfucking whatever, like Christian supremacist psychotic fucking refugee living in America now and able to talk that shit. Why don't you go back and live in fucking South Vietnam in the same conditions, if that's your perspective? Be careful, be careful. No, I
like how the RNC research account calls him Democrat spokesperson. Oh, that was this one. Yeah. Well. Oh, I remember seeing this. Yeah, for Adam Friedland.
Hassan, let's go back to politics. What do you think? Who are you going for in Ukraine? What side are you on that?
I'm on I'm on nobody's side. I mean, I think Vladimir Putin's bad, and what he did was wrong.
You think Ukraine guys are like pissed at Gaza?
I would be.
They're like, damn, they're clout sharks.
Yeah, they're in a weird predicament because like Zelensky is like super pro-Israel.
He's Jon Stewart. He's the Jon Stewart of Ukraine.
That's true. He was. He used to be.
Yeah.
But he's like has to be super pro-Israel because like he's pro-NATO. He's pro like American State Department, right? And that's what the American State Department is signaling, that they're like super pro-Israel. Meanwhile, in the early stages, when Russia was invading Ukraine, Zelensky was like, hey, can we get the Iron Dome? Like, that would be nice. They're fucking shelling us like nonstop. And Benjamin
Okay, Jesus Christ. Last Hassan thing, because this guy did a podcast. I saw Hegseth around the Pope. Okay.
And the centrist policy organizations do not want to say that because they do not want to admit that they have catastrophically lost the argument on education, on healthcare, on taxes, on LGBT issues, on racial issues, right? Like, we have just lost the argument. It is done. It is cooked.
Hey everyone, you're listening to a free preview of the Politics Podcast.
Wow.
For several days now, Donald Trump has been threatening to destroy the civilian infrastructure of Iran unless the Iranian government reopens the Strait of Hormuz. So Trump says a lot of things, but we recorded this episode about 10 hours before his stated deadline for them to cut a deal. And so by the time you listen, he either will have or he won't have committed a big premeditated war crime. But we can say this much. His war is unpopular in the United States. It continues growing more so over time. And yet it has also exposed rifts within the Democratic coalition over things like Iran, the troops, and the U.S. relationship to Israel. So we'll talk about how those rifts have come to light and what we each think Democrats should do, whether that's to end the war or to make Trump pay a steep political price for it. If you want to listen to the whole conversation, you can upgrade your subscription to paid at politics.fm.
We're only listening to the first 38 minutes.
Hello, and welcome to the Politics Podcast. I'm Brian Boyler.
Matthew Iglesias.
Whoa!
How was your Easter?
Delightful.
Did you post a bunch of deranged threats on the internet?
I did. I was just like, we're going to do genocide if I don't get my way. And
open the fucking eggs, you crazy bastard.
It didn't work. So this is awkward recording time because we are recording on a Tuesday morning. The episode will come out on a Wednesday morning. Trump is making these vague but dire threats to obliterate all of Persian civilization.
We don't know quite what bombs he has in mind or whether he's limiting himself exclusively to bridges and power plants. But his most recent missive before we started recording said a whole civilization will die tonight, which,
yeah,
I mean, pretty explicit.
Right. So
never to be brought back again.
So we don't know. Will there be a American genocidal bombing campaign? Will the Iranians put out some, hey, let's talk this over statement? And then Trump will say, all right, we're calling it off for another week while we do another round of talks in Oman. I mean, who knows? Nobody knows. But we were going to talk about the sort of intra-democratic wrangling that is happening, kind of as a sideline, I guess, to this war.
It's like a proxy, right?
Who are these people? Well, one of them is Matthew Iglesias, right? Yes.
I don't think that it is. I disagree with your interpretation of this.
Okay.
But
well, let's just
have it.
Let's talk about what actually has happened, which is that spurred on by people who really dislike Hassan Piker and people who at least want access to his audience, if not actually like him as a internet broadcaster or I don't know, like a streamer, podcast host, are fighting over whether basically he should be shunned out of the Democratic coalition, or whether he's even in the Democratic coalition, or whether he is essentially like Joe Rogan, just further left, where whatever anyone happens to think of his politics, you shouldn't just ignore him or sideline him or condescend to him if you want to reach his younger, more progressive audience. So I guess this all got kicked off because one of the 3 leading Senate Democratic candidates in Michigan decided to actually campaign with Hassan Piker. And this led to a wave of recriminations against him, and then counter recriminations against the centrist groups, like I guess mainly the Third Way.
Yeah, Third Way
had basically come out and said, forget everything we said about how cancel culture is bad. We should cancel Hassan Piker.
Right. So, I mean...
Just as a quick, I don't know the Third Way people, what their positions are on things like cancel culture or whatever, but like nobody in the United States thinks that canceling somebody is necessarily bad. What the argument is, taking in good faith, what the argument is really about is like, what is it worth to cancel somebody over? Like if somebody is like a serial rapist murderer and they want to run for politics, I think most people will be like, this guy probably shouldn't have a platform or something, right? Like I think most people will be okay with quote unquote canceling this person. It's just the idea of like somebody getting canceled because when they were 16 they tweeted out a racial slur, or somebody has like an unsavory opinion about like IQ and race or something. These are the types of things people talk about when they're against like cancel culture. Not like, since we're anti-cancel culture, every single person should talk to every single person and treat every single person equally and evenly from now on. Like that's like such a retard take.
I don't agree with the Third Way philosophy of this. I think that this is how... I think that, like, as I have tried to say many, many, many times on this podcast, the crippling, agonizing problem facing the Democratic Party, the core root of all of their problems, is that the authentic views of rank and file Democratic Party voters have become super duper left wing, and they want Democrats to espouse left wing election losing ideas. Centrist Democrats keep trying to hack their way out of this problem by accusing various left-wing figures like Graham Plattner or Hassan Piker in different ways of being bigots, right? And this is a strategy that I think some people feel worked for Hillary Clinton in the 2016 primary against Bernie Sanders, where instead of saying, Bernie Sanders has very left-wing views that I disagree with, she like insinuated that it was like racist or sexist to be a socialist.
I'm sorry. Maybe I wasn't paying as close of attention to politics back then. Were these big arguments the Clinton campaign was making? I know that like her being a woman was a much bigger deal in that campaign than Kamala Harris being a woman was, but I feel like I don't remember these types of attacks very much. I know the woman thing came up more, but I don't know.
I think that this is like a dead end strategy for moderate Democrats, that it is losing traction with the people it's supposed to gain traction with. And it also costs moderates the virtue of being moderate, which is to not act like insane leftists. To just be like, we're going to turn the tools of the insane leftists against them. It's like, it's cute, but like it doesn't make sense. Like, if anything, it makes Plattner seem more reasonable and appealing that you're coming on him this way.
Oh, yeah. One thing that I don't like, and this might just be like an unavoidable reality of politics or whatever, I really don't like this argument that somebody used a tool like a retard in the past, so now we can never use that tool again. Like, I think we can all agree that there was definitely a time period where progressives were labeling every single person anti-Semitic or racist or bigoted, and they all needed to be canceled for dumb shit. Like, we can all agree that they went overboard with that, like 2016 to 2020 maybe. Like, we can all agree with that. But to say then that we would never, ever, ever, get to call somebody like a racist or a bigot again, it's like, really? That's the counter to that? We just can't use that anymore? I don't know. I feel like that's retarded.
Not that, like, I think, like, getting weird SS tattoos is per se praiseworthy, but, like, freaking out about that kind of thing is, like, the kind of behavior that people don't like about Democrats.
Like, I'm sorry. I'm not fully convinced that that's really where the electorate is. I think that if you were to try to accuse somebody of being a Nazi because they made an okay sign, I think the electorate would view you as being a little bit crazy and unhinged. But for a person having legitimate Nazi tattoos and shit, I think most of the electorate still sees that as being like kind of weird, like kind of out there.
The Piker thing, I think, is a little bit different because, like, clearly the actual issue here, right, is that Hassan Piker has extreme opinions about American foreign policy. And pro-Israel Democrats who have lost the argument inside the Democratic Party about the U.S. relationship with Israel want to rescue their standing by pointing out the fact that the Palestine activist community has like very extreme views, which, like, I think Piker also adheres to. I sort of don't care about Hassan Piker, though. You know, like, this was a proxy argument about
Is this Matt talking right now? The way this guy talks is driving me crazy, but that's okay.
Abdul el-Sayed. And it's like, if you think Abdul el-Sayed has unsound foreign policy views, like, you should criticize those views. Like, if you're running against him in a primary, not this like crazy bank shot about a web streamer. I feel the same way about this, the way I felt about the Charlie Kirk discourse, which is that it's really bothersome to me to be asked to form an opinion about the political views of somebody whose output consists almost exclusively of like unstructured podcast dialogue. I mean, I like podcasts. We're recording a podcast right now, but it's like, if you really want to know what Matt Iglesias thinks about things, like, you should read my articles, and like, you should read my books, and like, in particular, you should read my like most formal long form writings. Like, I'm sure I have said inane things on random podcasts from time to time. Like, the doctrine exists in writing, but it's like impossible to ascertain what the canonical Hassan Piker takes are versus like semi-joking things he said on a live stream at one point. Like, it's just like not a good way to process information.
So I agree with the middle part of what you said about the utility and the sort of weakness of the third way response.
Yeah, Hassan doesn't write articles though, no?
Response to Piker, but then basically I think I disagree with everything else. I do want to say that, like, I hear what you're saying about Charlie Kirk, but I do want to draw a distinction between Piker as a stand-in for like left-wing influencer whose clout is growing within the Democratic coalition, and Charlie Kirk, or like, you know, to make the point maybe a little bit more stark, like people to Charlie Kirk's right who remain extremely influential in Republican politics, is that you have an asymmetry there in that Piker is still very marginal in the official Democratic Party, whereas Charlie Kirk had Donald Trump on speed dial, right? And like Nick Fuentes is somebody that like the vice president won't really criticize, and like, you know, estimates range, but maybe half of the people Trump has brought into the federal government are like groypers or groyper curious, right? Like the scale of the problem. Jesus. And like if Hasan Piker, like I've read and listened to the like supposedly disqualifying things that Piker said, and like they're like not good opinions, but like they're not. If he had called Jews the K word or blacks the N word, right? Like there would be, I think, a unanimous consensus within Democratic politics that he should be treated like a pariah. And instead,
what didn't he say? Jews are inbred.
I think he was like, he used inbred to describe, I believe, like the settlers. And I, as a Jew, understand why that is like most likely conscious.
Like, do you see how we've taken too far of a step back? Like, I agree that the obsession about every single dog whistle from progressives in like the mid 2010s, that I agree that that was cringe. But now when we're like, well, you know, if he said the N-word or something, we would know for sure. And I don't think this guy's saying it quite that. But it's like, we should be able to have a sophisticated conversation about racism and bigotry and everything. Like, it's not like one thing would discredit a person. I've probably defended Hassan more than any other large creator on the internet, to be funnily enough, on just cringe shit that he said that I don't think was racist. Or just cringe things he said in general. I remember that one comment he made about calling somebody a shit skin. And the only time I've ever heard that word used before is on 4chan about Indians. But listening to Hassan talk about it, I'm pretty sure that when Hassan was using that word, I think he was just describing like a young person, or he thought a guy had acne. But like when it comes to like the anti-Semitism or the other bigotry, like this stuff is like oppressive in Hassan's rhetoric. It's not just like a one sentence thing that's like questionable, you know?
Playing on a trope that is going to attract anti-Semites. But like, I think having extremely negative opinions about the settlers is correct. So
sure, but I also want to discuss the asymmetry here, because like the asymmetry is exactly as you described. But like that's why Abdullah Sayed doing a campaign rally with him like became the flashpoint, right? Because part of the value proposition was that like El Sayed was going to have the kind of relationship with Hasan Piker that Republicans had with Charlie Kirk, right? Like, you know, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not speaking at the Haley Stevens campaign rally.
No, I just mean, you know, that like it matters
so,
if it's one senator. If you know he hasn't won the primary, and he probably won't. But like one senator in the Democratic caucus versus like every senator in the Republican Party.
No. I mean, absolutely. I mean, the Republican Party.
Somebody said, why are all these conversations happening? And it sounds like no one actually listens to Hassan's stream. That's just the belly. No, not the belly of the beast. That's just the nature of the beast. It's streaming stuff. It's too much to listen to. It was like when progressives or people on the left tried to fight with Jordan Peterson so much, but nobody actually took the time. I mean, I say take the time, but you have to go through so much material, and it's hard to summarize it. You kind of have to experience it, you know? But it's too much to sift through.
Party is a conservative movement party. The Democratic Party historically has not been a leftist political party.
Yeah.
And like one of the questions on the table of El Sayed's primary candidacy is like, should they become that kind of party? You know,
so I think that they're arguing about that to some extent, but I think that they're really arguing about Iran and Israel, particularly with like a.
If the lawsuit never happened, they'd be fighting against Destiny being the Joe Rogan of the left. Good one. I don't think I would ever position myself this closely to candidates because I know I have an edgy history as well, but there's a couple different things. One, I support the Democratic Party generally where it's at. I'm not demanding they change their entire platform to cater to me, which I think is kind of a big deal because Hassan is part of a group of people demanding a full change. Number one. Number two, I've said edgy things, and I don't know if people will get there eventually to Hassan's ideology, but I don't have my ideology is like very bog standard. Like generally the way that leftists criticize me, and even Nazis or far right people criticize me is like I'm a statist cuck, or I'm like I'll repeat verbatim whatever the U.S. State Department says about foreign wars, or I just defend institutions, or a corporatist or whatever. Like my political positions are pretty average, but I don't know if I would ever advise a candidate, like if they would like, hey, we should go campaign together. I'm like, I don't know about that one, man. That would be a lot.
Well, Israel. They're arguing about Israel.
I think it's both, and we can get to that in a second. I don't want to because there were other things that you said that I want to like nitpick at least. But I think there are people caught in the middle who are like not particularly fans of the war and not particularly fans of Netanyahu's government, but they have like large Jewish constituencies who are pro-Israel, and also they have like these sort of like high rectitude, don't leave, don't use the troops as bargaining chips in legislative negotiations, and so they're reluctant to get engaged on the war in an oppositional way. But like the way you frame this is that there's a bunch of leftists gaining power in the Democratic Party. They're voters and their influencers or whatever, and they're making Democrats take all kinds of unpopular stances. And then so the centrists are trying to play this cutesy game of turning left-wing cancel culture back on the leftists, and it doesn't work. And I think the key point is that on the issues that are salient at the moment, Piker's views are very, very popular, period. Like, very popular in the Democratic Party, popular nationally. Opposing this war is extremely popular. Opposing the Netanyahu government, also quite popular. And that's the context on top of the Syed appearance, like, that makes this a news story. It's like, it's not like...
but like, I don't think this is... I think that, like, left-wing people, including you, have just decided to make up, like, fabricate out of whole cloth the idea that like Democrats are not opposing the war in Iran, and that therefore
I think they are opposing the war in Iran, but like,
okay,
I mean,
but what's controversial about Hassan Piker's foreign policy views, right? Like, if you Piker is I guess this is called campism, but like Piker is an advocate for the geopolitical enemies of the United States of America.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Like he thinks that the People's Republic of China and Hezbollah and so forth are like the forces of good in the world.
True.
Right? And I think most Democrats do not agree with that. Most Democratic Party elected officials do not agree with that. And they do.
Wait, real quick. When I knock this guy out, there's no way to keep him from taking over somebody's body, right? Like, he just has to do that and then I have to knock him out?
Do not want to be pushed into a view where to be like authentically anti-war, you're supposed to be cheerleading for the military forces that are on the other side of this conflict. But I also I don't want to defend them. Like, I think this sucks. I think like everything about it sucks top to bottom. And like, I really want to refer people back to our episode last week, because I think it got at like the key issue here, which is I think the strategy that Democrats are engaged in is failing, like badly. And you sort of don't. So,
well, I think that, no,
I think this sucks, because like, I think what Democrats are doing right now is failing badly, and that they need to do something dramatically different from what they are currently doing. Oh. And that the point of this focus on Piker is to keep doing the same thing.
I mean, I think that is a reasonable reason for somebody with your positions to be frustrated with the discourse that's dominating Democratic politics, when it could just as easily be like unified opposition to the war. So I don't think that it's fair to say that Democrats support the war. What I do think is fair and almost like too obvious to point out is that when Democrats are genuinely opposed to something and they think that opposing it will help them politically. Like we know what it looks like when Democrats are both opposed to something and trying to stop it, right? Or at least make it painful for Republicans. It looks like the opposition to the OBBA, right? OBBBA. They do daily press events. The leadership coordinates them. They make a bunch of placards, right? Like they try to force a bunch of votes. Like every member of the party from left to center thinks that this is going to help them, and they try really in earnest to stop the Republicans from doing the bad thing. But they also know that if they fail to get the Republican Party to blink, that Republicans will just do something that's very unpopular, and that will help Democrats in the next election.
But that's because OBBA was a bill. Like if there was an Iran war authorizing vote, Democrats wouldn't vote for it.
No, but there's like an Iran war crime being put on the schedule. And like, instead of being like, hey, like this could escalate to World War III. We need to like throw our bodies under the gears to stop this from happening if we can. They're having this fight about Piker, right? And
but I just like.
Well, who is they? Like, is Schumer talking about Hassan Piker? I feel like the conversation on this is so off in so many ways. I don't know.
Literally don't understand. Like, there is not a bill. There's not a piece of legislation for Democrats in Congress to oppose. All they can do is say this is bad, and they are all saying that it is bad.
That's not true. Because like for every moment from when Republicans introduce a bill like One Big Beautiful Bill Act to when there's the final vote on it, there are a multitude of efforts to try to break Republicans off, to try to make the bill fail, to try to put Republicans in awkward positions. But that's
because there's a bill. There's no bill.
But like I'm saying that there's daily activity in the war, and then there's this like this changing Trump deadline that may never actually come to pass, where he says he's gonna do something like genuinely awful that will like. Not, he refers to it as changing the course of history because the Persian Empire will be destroyed, but really the American Empire will be destroyed, right? And if Democrats actually care about whether the next Democratic president inherits something fixable or inherits something that's like broken forever, like I think that you would expect them to be behaving about Trump's threats differently than they are. It would look more like a anti-war version of how they oppose healthcare cuts, right? Like,
but they oppose healthcare cuts by mobilizing votes in Congress against a bill.
By mobilizing the public and by appearing at rallies and by doing, like they do the press conferences every day. They are trying to be like, hey, there's something big and bad coming down the pike, and we are trying to alert people to it in the hope of stopping it. But if we can't stop it, we need everyone to know who was on what side.
But they are doing that.
No. Not really. Like,
I don't understand how we can podcast about this. Like, I don't.
Wait, do I have to sacrifice a cat in order to advance in this thing? I have to? Goodbye, Rami.
Like, they are just doing what you want.
Okay, take a second to Google Jeffries and Schumer, like now and in the 2025 days as OBBA was making its way through Congress, and like, what do they what do they post tweets and press releases about when they really care about trying to stop something versus when they think like it's easier for me to just like either let Trump hurt himself or not get involved because there's divisions within my caucus or whatever.
Right. So like Chuck Schumer today, this is an extremely sick person. Each Republican who refuses to join us in voting against this wanton war of choice owns every consequence of whatever the hell this is. Yesterday, hundreds of billions more for war around the world, but we can't afford healthcare and childcare here at home. Before that, Schumer yesterday, referring to the Trump's military requests, a complete betrayal of everything Trump campaigned on in 2024.
Can you run this with 3 cats, or should I come back with 4? They're kind of injured now, too.
April 5, happy Easter, America, as you head off to church and celebrate with...
You can, and you can't leave right now. Oh, fuck.
Friends and family. The president of the United States is ranting like an unhinged madman on social media. He's threatening possible war crimes and alienating allies. This is who he is, but not who we are. Our country deserves so much better. And this is, I mean, we know, like, this is the most pro-Israel, most Iran hawkish senator in the whole fucking caucus. Awkwardly is the minority leader. And like, he is there, guns blazing. Trump sucks, war crimes, blah, blah, blah,
Okay.
blah, 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 blah. Like, you know,
what do you want him to say? It's bad.
There's no bill to vote on. So
I mean, there are it requires like a little bit of like parliamentary trickery that gets a little boring, but like there are things actually, particularly in the House, that
If I attack it, I get
can do to make war powers resolutions votes happen, to make impeachment resolutions votes happen. And I just feel like the statements that you read are good. I don't actually think that the Democratic Party, quote unquote, supports the war in Iran. What I do think is that they are having a fight over Piker because the question of Piker is a substitute for where is the caucus unified on Iran? Like, do Democrats are they maximizing their power in a way that will get people who like Hassan Piker's take on the Iran war and Israel to be like, hey, look, the Democratic Party is actually closer to where I am on this than I thought, or than where the Republican
I
Party
want to
is.
clarify though, like, it's not Hakeem Jeffries who's picking this fight about Piker, right? Like, there's a contested Senate primary in Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Where like the candidates who are not Abdul El-Sayed are trying to beat him. And there's also Third Way is trying to take some stand on this Piker thing because they are looking for something to make news about themselves on. And they've hit on this, I think, for, I don't know why exactly. It is certainly not the issue that I would have picked. But I think that like Jeffrey should be impeaching, blah, 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 blah. To me, that's actually just like another example of the kind of thing that picking a fight about Hassan Piker is, which is, or there was this big discourse about like how digital teams on campaigns should relate to comms teams that was sparked by like something David Plouffe said. And I just think these are like all versions of like, he had like an it doesn't matter. Like, okay. I just think like Democrats are finding a lot of things to argue about other than the content of the Democratic Party platform, because I don't know why, like people on both sides of this have become a little bit averse to like saying exactly what it is they want and are picking fights about basically low stakes tactical questions. And then the Piker thing like went into overdrive because, people running in a contested primary in Michigan were fighting with each other about this. But John Ossoff, who is like running in a general election in Georgia, has been praised by Piker several times for his vote.
He used to be attacked by him too.
To block some arms transfer.
Oh, because he was on Israel's shit.
And so then like Georgia Republicans were like going after Ossoff to be like, will you disavow everything that Hassan Piker has ever said? Right? And that's like part of the stupidity of getting into playing this game, because like Ossoff stands by Ossoff's own votes, right? And like not by other things he hasn't said and hasn't done. And like, I think that's totally fine. A much more reasonable thing to argue about for Democrats who are in a primary with each other is like, do they agree with John Ossoff? Not do they agree with Hassan Piker? Because that was an actual thing that divided Democrats. Not is the Iran war good, and not is Hassan Piker right about China. But
we are like
should
somehow
the United States of
converging on the
America impose an arms embargo on Israel?
Yeah,
because
and we are somehow converging on the same point from very different directions. Because like my view is that like the only way a proxy fight over things like Israel gets routed through a debate over platforming Hassan Piker or whatever is because Democrats are internally, at some level, in their votes, in their hearts, divided over those questions. And if there are people in the Democratic Party, whether it's members or their aides or Neera Tanden or whoever, that are getting uncomfortable with how much purchase people like Piker are gaining over, marginal members of Congress or candidates or whatever, the easiest way to relegate Piker to the fringes is to adopt his views that are popular, right? And then just you could just drink his milkshake and then be like you can then condemn him for his sort of irrelevant at the moment statements about China and Russia, right?
I don't think it is clear that, again, the specific policy issue that Democrats really were divided on, right, was about arms sales, not aid, but sales to Israel. I don't know that that's a issue that has been a couple votes were taken in Congress on it, but weirdly people have talked a lot about Israel over the past 3 years and even more so over the past 3 decades. But I don't actually think that this specific policy question has been widely debated.
Wow. It became widely debated after October 7th, 2023.
I don't really think it did.
Man, this guy is just very...
Sales of military equipment.
I think that they're in the public mind, these things are blurry, like aid to Israel versus sales to Israel. Does Israel get a discount? You're right that the question of is there an open market for U.S. military equipment? And the answer is no, right? Because we won't sell our equipment to many countries that do bad things in the world. And so now there's a question: does Israel fall into that category or not? And I
wouldn't say bad things. Normally America approves arms sales to countries that we see as not hostile to the United States.
Yes.
Right. So it's if North Korea was we would like some guided missiles, we're not going to say sure thing, go ahead. That's creating good union jobs. But we sell weapons to Pakistan, right? Which is not a comprehensive judgment on the part of the American people or the United States House of Representatives that the Pakistani government is an amazing entity that we love. They're customers, right? Anyway, I think this is an interesting question, and it would be useful and informative for people to have some kind of a square discussion about this, because it really is dividing Democrats in Congress. It is not clear to me where public opinion lands on it. Jesus. It's not clear to me ultimately that people who are sounding off on it have really thought this through or understand the full nexus of groups that are for it. So Bernie Sanders has been a leading proponent of blocking these arms sales. One of my favorite Bernie anecdotes from back in the day is that when he was mayor of Burlington, there was some kind of factory in Burlington that made guns.
Burlington Coat Factory?
And the guns were being sold.
Was that just a Nebraska thing, or was that a chain?
To the Contras in Central America. And all the left-wing guys, they were going to do a big protest and shut the factory down. And Bernie was torn about it. But ultimately he sent in the cops to get rid of the protesters because it was a union factory in his city. And Bernie has always been very left-wing on American foreign policy, but also was just the mayor of a town, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just one of those things where the difference between a kind of abstract, view from 50,000 feet up to a concrete, you get down to it, what are interests here, sort of ends up being different. But I do think that it's it speaks poorly of everybody who's involved in this, that they are not willing to have the argument about like the actual question, which is, should the United States of America put some kind of arms embargo on Israel in an effort to coerce them into doing something? And then like we have to say what that something is as well. And like then we're having a dispute about a public policy.
I don't even know what that, like, I don't disagree that that should be a policy discussion going forward, but like you're asking to have like a nuanced policy discussion about how to restrain Israel when the Democrats couldn't do anything right now because of the minority party, and Donald Trump is literally just giving them like a blank check, future book, death note, whatever, to do literally whatever they want. I feel like it'd be weird having that kind of nuanced policy debate right now in the Democratic Party because I'm not even sure what the goal of it would be. I don't know.
Matter of some interest and importance to the United States, rather than about podcasts.
And look, I think that the Democratic Party as a whole can appeal to people who listen to Hassan Piker, even if there are stray Democrats who take the unpopular side of questions surrounding the U.S. relationship to the Israeli government and the U.S. war in Iran, right? Like getting 100% unanimity is hard, but like getting your party identified as pro-healthcare or anti-war is reasonably easy to do without unanimity. And I think that the move that groups like Third Way are making against Piker are about trying to prevent Democrats who they have some clout with and who are mainly in the center, and from being like, you know what, the popular thing to do now is to basically throw Israel under the bus, like be like vocally, aggressively anti-war. And so instead they're doing this lob about Piker, which you like depict as if they're kind of being cute about it. But I actually just think that it's like a very common form of like, it's like literally mirror image cancel culture, right? Just moving right to left instead of left to right. And it's like, it is a kind of obvious move on the game board if you're desperate, or if you feel like you've got so much momentum at your back that you can actually make people do things and adopt views that they don't sincerely hold. And it's like, it's not really about who you're canceling. It's about what you're trying to prevent the party from becoming identified by. And in this case, like, Third Way is not primarily concerned about what Piker said about Russia and China. They're concerned about his views on the war and on Iran, right? And that's why they're going at it.
No, they're concerned about his views on Israel.
Yeah, did I not say that?
You said
Iran
you said no. You said his views on the war and on Iran.
Oh, okay. I meant the war and Israel.
I really want to draw a distinction here, though, because it's like Democrats are unified in opposing this war in Iran. Democrats are very divided on Israel, but like by very divided, I mean that there's like an incredibly wide range of views, not just like a divide.
Pro versus anti or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I mean, not just like two sides, right? Like there is a view which has gained a lot of traction inside like elite circles, but that I don't think is like fully understood and like mentally processed, right? But is that the United States of America should not only like stop being so supportive of Israel, but should become very hostile to Israel, should be really trying hard to coerce Israel into doing things that the Israeli government and the Israeli public really do not want to do. Right? That will amount to, dissolving the Israeli state as it currently exists. I think that like moderates are being, I don't think it's desperation. I think it's like the opposite. Like Third Way, I went to the Third Way conference and I was pleased to be there. They asked me if I would come and moderate a panel for them. I was thrilled to do it. broadly think they are on the right side of things. I'm happy to cooperate with them. But my critique of that event, which I wrote an article about and I said on Twitter and I got some pushback from Matt Bennett about, was like, I think that they are too complacent about the extent to which they have like already lost the argument. And they are being much too protective of the establishment. And that this like fighting with Hassan Piker is like, you're picking a fight with somebody who's fairly marginal in order to make you feel better about yourselves.
Oh, I think it's because picking a fight with Piker is one where they can say that they're on the popular side by pulling in Piker's somewhat extraneous. Because they're on the policy, they're on the unpopular side, and their whole thing is Democrats have become too extreme, and to win elections, they have to take sensible positions that the public agrees with. And instead of being like, okay, we give up on those positions, they're trying to hologram them.
No, but it's I just think it's the opposite. It's like they think, as I think, that Democrats, like not left-wing Democrats, mainstream Democrats, moderate Democrats, centrist Democrats, have toxically left-wing positions on a broad swath of issues. But like if you say that, right? Like then you end up, when I say that, I am on the wrong side of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and everybody in the caucus. They are all too left-wing, right? And so I have to put myself, like this is the conversation that we had last week. That's the conversation that Democrats need to be having, right? Like getting into this other thing is about Israel, about the war. It's completely pointless. Like it has relevance. I think it has relevance to you because like,
no. It has relevance to if Democrats like spent right now, this moment being like, you know what? We don't care about Hassan Piker or the Israel discussion. We're going to talk about our other views on policy that Matt thinks are too left wing. That would look even more evasive to the public about what is actually happening in the real world right now than the fight over Piker. But the fight over Piker is a deflection from the raw substance of what matters right now, which is the war in Iran, which is a U.S.-Israel production, right? Mm-hmm. And thus requires Democrats, if they're going to oppose it, to take on Trump and to take on Netanyahu. And they don't want to do that. Right? I think
they do want to do that. They are doing exactly what you want.
No, not they, the Democrats. They, the third way. They, the people who are like picking the fight over Piker.
I don't know. I have no defense of them. Like, I just think this is completely irrelevant. Like, all this stuff, Iran, Israel, it has fucking nothing to do with anything. Like, what we talked about last week is what matters in Democratic Party politics. And what we have right now is a caucus of which all of the senators are too left-wing. All of the House members are too left-wing. Everyone running in 2028 is too left-wing. And the centrist policy organizations do not want to say that because they do not want to admit that they have catastrophically lost the argument. Right? Like on education, on healthcare, on taxes, on LGBT issues, on racial issues, right? Like we have just lost the argument. Like we are kaput, right? Like it is done. It is cooked. You have a choice. But like, if you look at like the Piker, Stevens, McMorrow race in Michigan, right? There are real differences between those three, but none of them have majoritarian views on like the big issues where centrists say that Democrats have gone too far left.
Okay, let's take a break.
Like, that's just where we are.
Let's take a break and talk about this because I feel like you do a dance where on this show you talk about like Democrats as having toxically left-wing views. But then when you write about what you want a chill Democrat to do, it's not like much different from what they're doing. And I want to talk to you about that. So if you want to hear that part of the conversation, go to politics.fm and rate your subscription.